Alrighty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com and the Cave Talk Radio app. It's great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd with you. Rich Anselmo here as well. 1 hour today. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the NBA, Rich. The Denver Nuggets pulled ahead in the NBA Finals last night, 2-1, beating the Miami Heat by double digits. And, I have to tell you, the first thing I thought watching this game last night was probably about midway through the third quarter. I thought to myself, just out of nowhere, I don't know that I've seen a more productive, better fitting duo than Jokic and Murray since Shaq and Kobe. And then, sure enough, later today, maybe I should be scared by this, but I'm not, but maybe I should be. I see on Facebook, I didn't even say it out loud, I just thought it. I see on Facebook from the Score a graphic of the two. So
I saw that.
Yes. So Shaq and Kobe averaged, and I don't know, there's no context here as to when this was. I don't know if this was in a particular final series, in all their finals, in their playoffs. I don't know. But the numbers are very similar. 53.6 points per game by Shaq and Kobe, 21.3 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Jokic and Murray, 59.3, 20.7, and 19.3. So far and away blow Shaq and Kobe out of the water in assists, convincingly in points, and almost the same in rebounds. I mean, they're different. If I was going to pick between the two greats, I would probably take Jokic over Shaq, and I would probably take Kobe over Murray.
Yeah, the assist numbers for Shaq were non-existent.
Well, yeah, he was not. That wasn't his game.
Right.
But I'll tell you something. The level of production is legendary. That's not hyperbole. That's not an overstatement. That's not like, well, let's wait and see. We don't have to wait and see. We've seen it already. These two together are absolutely legendary. They are absolutely, without a doubt, the best duo in the NBA right now. And maybe this is where we have to let them win a title or two to go this far. But I think they have all the makings of one of the great duos in NBA history. I mean, they are absolutely amazing.
I agree.
They're amazing. And they play so flawlessly and so fluidly off of each other. And I said something to a friend just a few minutes ago by Messenger before coming on the air here. It's probably a bit controversial, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not, but I think that the Nuggets have the two best players in this series. I think Murray is the second best player in this series behind Jokic. I think Jamal Murray is a better player than Jimmy Butler. I'm just going to say it like that. This guy is so fluid, so smooth, and he's one of those guys that at times looks like he's just moving in slow motion because it's so easy for him. And like I've said before about Butler, he's great, but I feel that he has to really take every ounce of energy out of himself to be great. Last night was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. He scored a lot of points, and he was definitely their most productive offensive player, but he was nowhere near their most efficient. And you just got the sense that he really had to make up his mind and use all of his talents to get most of the shots that he got off. And he had to be consciously overly aggressive to do that. Whereas Bam, for example, seems to do it in the flow of everything. Murray seems to do it in the flow of everything. Jokic is the flow. He creates all the flow. And I've just been so impressed with Jamal Murray over the last few years. I remember saying during the bubble when he played so sensationally that I thought he was the best one guard, small two in the NBA. Right in that class with Curry and Lillard and guys like that. I think he's better than both of them. This guy is such a great player. And I think that anything short of that category at this point, I think you're underrating him. If you want to say you think Curry's a little better or Lillard's a little better, that's fine. You can say that. But if you're not putting Jamal Murray basically as an equal with them, you're underrating him at this point. That's how good this guy is. He truly is that good.
See, that's where I hate the whole better and that. How do you know one guy's not better? Put him in the same situation. That's the only way you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I mean, what if Jimmy Butler didn't have to carry the entire team
mhm.
because Murray doesn't have to?
Yeah, right. No, of course not. I mean, they play off of each other. They now, I will say, Murray and Jokic have to carry the entire team. At least so far, they have to in this series. But it's two of them, and they can do it. I was talking to another friend today.
Plus, look at the clutch help they got yesterday. Braun, the rookie.
Yeah, he's been great. I was gonna get to him. Yeah, he's fun. That dude's athletic, man. He goes
Yeah,
all
he is.
he reckless abandon. He doesn't care about anything. He is going at you.
On the post-game show on NBA TV, Jamal Crawford said, "Man, you look like the boy next door, but you got some dog in you."
That's a great way to sum it up. That's a perfect way to put it. It's
It
exactly
is.
correct. Oh, that's funny. But one thing I was gonna say about the supporting cast of Denver in this game, Gordon was sensational defensively and made a number of nice plays around the basket when he had a mismatch. The Nuggets did a very good job of finding Aaron Gordon when he had a mismatch down low. But overall, this was the Murray and Jokic show, and they started, and I was telling my friend Richie, who is just coming back from a little vacation in the woods, so he was kind of out of the loop. I was breaking it down to him, and the word I used was, yeah, basically Jokic and Murray were ticked off, and that's basically how this game played out. They just came out, both of them, on a mission from the start, and they just weren't going to be denied. I mean, the two of them just absolutely dominated this whole game.
They did. The
And
question I have, though, this series has been two good coaches making adjustments.
mhm,
How many more adjustments does Miami have left? And when does it come to a point that the adjustments won't matter?
that's a great question. I think the last big adjustment I could see Miami making is finding a way to go a little bit bigger. And I don't really know how they do that because they don't really have that on their roster. Uh,
No,
because frankly, the Nuggets are just out muscling them, like both around the rim and just going to the rim. What Brown did, all the credit in the world to him. But if Miami had a even halfway decent shot blocker, even someone, forget it, even the shot blocker, just someone even Jokic's size and girth, a lot of those drives that he made wouldn't have been possible because he finished through contact. But he could do that because the contact was coming from people who aren't all that super strong. You put a guy in there, Jokic isn't a shot blocker, but if you have to finish through that big thick body, it's it's much harder than if you have to finish through, 220-pound or whatever he is, Bam Adebayo. And Bam Adebayo is a much better shot blocker, but you could absorb his contact. If you take it right to his chest, that's rule number one against a shot blocker, is take it to his chest. If you do that and the guy is only so strong, you can finish through it a little bit better than you can if the guy is a lesser shot blocker, but stronger. And so to me, that's the thing in this that I think is irrefutable. That's the biggest challenge I see for Miami that I don't think they have, to your question, an adjustment for, is just the pure brute strength and size that Denver can throw at them. I mean, I just don't think Miami has a solution for that.
I don't either.
Um,
I'm still not going to write them off.
Oh, you can't write them off because of the one thing they have is, and we talked about this a couple days ago, they have such a plethora of shot makers And because none of them are the quote head of the snake, so to speak, you can't key on any of them, but you can't forget about any of them either. They're all capable at any random time of really breaking a game. I mean, whether it's Robinson or Martin or Vincent, Kyle Lowry, they're all about the same level guy, and they're all about as capable as the other. So,
Right.
and if a couple of them get going at the same time, then that's when Miami wins. But I'll tell you what, I'm not betting against the combination of Jokic and Murray. To me, we can break this series down in a lot of different ways, and we'll do it throughout the show and the week, I'm sure. But when it really boils down to it, you have to convince me. I have to see them beat that duo 4 times in 7 games, and I just don't see it. Those guys are so good.
No, I think it'll be extremely difficult to do.
Oh, they're just so good. I mean, I, I'm watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, like sometimes, you watch a game and you realize like Tim Duncan was the king of this. You would think, he had an okay game. He had like 12 points and like 10 rebounds or something. Then he had like 34 points and like 22 rebounds. Like, wait, what? Like, when did all that happen? With Jokic
Right.
last night, I feel like I noticed every rebound and every shot he made. Like, while I'm watching the game, I'm thinking to myself, God, this guy just gets every rebound and he makes every shot he takes. And most of them bounce off the rim 3 times and fall in.
Oh, I know. Just when you sit there and you're thinking, well, that's not a great shot.
Then it rolls in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's I think Jeff Van Gundy made a comment along those lines during the game.
Stephen A. Smith made a comment yesterday too.
What an idiot. Go ahead. Hit me with it. You texted it to me. I know you did.
I did text it to you.
I know you did. I read it.
And this just goes to show you that people don't pay attention or they're just letting certain things get in the way. Stephen A. Smith said Jokic isn't known for having some kind of dominant post game now. That's not his game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
JJ Redick, who's no Rhodes Scholar,
No, he's not.
answered him and said, we've got 10 years of tracking data. You know what the number one most efficient half court play is? A Nikola Jokic post up.
What an idiot. I mean, this is the problem. This is the core problem with Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, those two in particular. I'm just gonna say it in plain English. They are prejudiced. They absolutely will never give a white great player like Jokic his full line of credit. They won't do it. And that's all this boils down to. Because to say that would like I don't even need the tracking data. That just is icing on the cake. That's like that just proves it in a more I guess scientific data driven way. But all I need to do is watch Jokic in the post and watch Bam Adebayo, who's probably one of the 3 or 4 best defenders in the whole NBA, just absolutely be at a loss the whole series against that very play to know that that statement is asinine. I mean, Bam Adebayo can guard anybody. I mean, really anybody. He can guard 1 through 5. The guy is an elite defender. I'm not so sure he's not the best, most complete player on that team. That's how much I think of Bam Adebayo. He is great, but he just can't do anything with Jokic. No one can.
True. Very true.
I mean,
the whole topic is ridiculous, and the reason you gave is absolutely true.
That's what it is. I mean, just as Redick has recency bias and wants to call Jerry West a plumber, Smith and Perkins, those two in particular, have prejudice against great white players. They just do. And that's all there is to it. And by the way, I think that they're just the most visible and vocal who hold those opinions. I think a lot of the reason why you don't see more of them is because of the NBA overarching, like, softer, less pronounced prejudice of if a white player is great, he's not athletic, and like I bet you there'll be some idiot that says Christian Brown's not that athletic. That dude's as athletic as anyone in the NBA. He was just dunking on people, finishing through contact, flying up and down the court, reckless
Yeah.
abandon. Oh, he's a role player. I don't want to overrate him, but the guy's athletic as anything. If
He's also just a rookie.
he's a rookie, right? But if he were black, he would be in the dunk contest, and people would be talking about how athletic he is. But he's just as
Yeah.
athletic as anyone in the NBA on pure
Right.
athleticism. I took one look at him. I never saw him before game two. I'll be honest, and I was like, "Who is this guy? Where'd he come from? This guy's awesome. He's like just a freaky athletic dude. He's so strong and so explosive, and it's like he just doesn't care. He just throws his body around, man. You love guys like that."
Of course. Of course, you always do, because you want to see people like that succeed because of how hard they work.
Absolutely. And no question about it. But I am a big fan. The one takeaway I'll have from this series, win, lose, or draw from Miami, is I've elevated in my mind Bam Adebayo from an all-star to in my mind, a top 25 player in the NBA. This guy is amazing how good he is. He's so complete. Everything on both sides of the ball. He's just impactful. Every minute of the game that he's out there on both sides, he matters. He is just so good.
He is. He really is. And I've been on that for a couple of years.
Yeah, he is fantastic. I mean, I've always liked his game, but his uh, ascension to the level of, in my opinion, a top 25 or 30 NBA player really comes down to the fact that now he is comfortable from the triple threat and creating his shot and hitting pull-ups. He was always a good mid-range shooter, but it was more in the line of a pick and pop mid-range shooter. Now he initiates that offense from the high post, from a triple threat, and looks for that shot and makes it on a regular basis. And that's made him a much more impactful player than he used to be, in my opinion.
True. How good would he be if he were a power forward like he should be?
That's a good question. So if you put like just a rock, like a defender behind him, like a Andre Drummond or a JaVale McGee type, someone like that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let him go after the best forwards.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true. I mean, because like I said before,
I mean, he's 6'8".
yep. Yep. Yeah, he's overmatched physically against Jokic. I mean, Jokic is what? 280, 275?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bam is
Adebayo's 230 at the most.
right, at the most, right. Yep. So that's 50 pounds, 40 to 50 pounds that you're giving up, and probably about 3 to 4 inches. That's just, and the problem is with Jokic specifically, you really can't double team him. I mean, it's worse than just letting him get 50 on you, because
Right.
he'll probably get 35 and then he'll get 20 assists if you double team him all game.
True. True. It's not an easy. There's not an easy answer to it. In fact, there's nothing close to an easy answer to it.
Nope. Jokic is the ultimate elixir of the NBA. Dylan's saying Bam shot 7 of 21 with 5 assists. Dude isn't even a top 10 center in the league. Well, he's not, as Rich was just kind of alluding to, he's not even really a center. He's playing out of position because the Heat are so small. And when you're going against a guy that physically overpowers you, it exhausts you. You're going to shoot a lower percentage when you're getting worn out physically and banged around that way. I mean, that's why A lot of times they say the best defense is a good offense. Like if you have a guy on another team that's an elite scorer, take someone like Jamal Murray, for example. If I was the Heat, one other adjustment I would try to make is I would just try to make him work as much as I can defensively, and whoever his man is, attack him every possession. The problem is, unless that's Jimmy Butler, the Heat other players are not that type of one-on-one offensive player. So that's why that's a hard adjustment. But one of the best things you can do against a great player is make him work all day and feel contact all day on the other end and get him to use some of that energy on the defensive end. It absolutely has an impact on their shooting percentages. We've seen this with guys like Kobe Bryant. A lot of times, like they would put a great offensive player on Kobe just so that Kobe would have to work on the other end. Jamal Murray, though, is a beast.
Oh, he is.
And Jokic plays plenty of defense. He's not a straight-on shot blocker, but what he does do is he gets in the right spot, and because of his big body and his good positioning, he makes people miss. The fact of the matter is the Heat wouldn't be shooting in the mid-30s if Jokic didn't play defense. And by the way, the most important part of a defensive possession is to end the possession, aka get the rebound. And Jokic is one of the very best rebounders in the NBA. Defensive rebounds counts as defense. It has to, because no defensive possession ends if you don't get one.
Right.
So.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, it's just every argument they make about Jokic is wrong.
He's the best player in the NBA. That's it. To me, this playoff and this finals has taken any doubt away from that. I've been saying for a couple of years, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis are like the three guys. But Jokic to me has separated himself. The combination of his shooting and passing has always distinguished him from those other two. But now he's rebounding at an even better clip than he has in the past. He's just a total complete package. He's the best guy in the NBA right now. And that's why the Nuggets are here. So,
and you're not going to get an argument from me. And I defend my statement that I made all season long. He was the MVP, and you will not get me to change my mind.
Yeah, see, to me, because it's a regular season award, that MVP, like I said from the beginning, could have gone to Giannis, Embiid, or Jokic, and I would have been equally satisfied with any of the three. So I don't have any problem with the MVP going where it went.
Oh, I know the reason he got it. So,
well, he had every right to it as anyone else. He had every right to it as anyone else. I mean, they all had MVP worthy seasons, all three of those guys.
We'll agree.
But if you're going to ask me who I would build a team around of those three, it would be Giannis or Jokic. But Embiid had a MVP worthy season, and I had no problem with him getting that. Let's take a break. We got the question of the day next. It's the Gary Ayd Show here in the Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to RadioOnlyDeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's RadioOnlyDeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. RadioOnlyDeals.com. That's RadioOnlyDeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
Carmelo Anthony has become a digital celebrity. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
Would you like to hear better for as little as 10 cents a day? Now you can with the all-new Audion hearing aids. The average hearing aid lasts about 3 years. Ours, at only $99 a pair, means you're paying as little as 10 cents a day to hear better. We've eliminated all the middlemen to offer you a factory direct price of only $99 a pair. Join over 300,000 people just like you who took advantage of our 45-day trial offer. Now you can hear better too for just 10 cents a day. Call now and order your $99 pair of Audion hearing aids with a 45-day money-back guarantee. Plus, get free 3 to 5 day shipping.
800-226-1471. 800-226-1471. 800-226-1471. That's 800-226-1471.
Soul Machines has partnered with retired NBA star Carmelo Anthony to launch Digital Mellow. Soul Machines is a deep technology company specializing in autonomously animated digital people. The technology allows digital influencers and digital celebrities, like Mello, to connect one-to-one with fans across digital worlds. All of that digitalness helps celebrities circumnavigate barriers like language and geography. Essentially, influencers will have unlimited fan engagement without having to deal with the hassle of lugging their skin suits from A to B. Question: would a digital interaction with your favorite athlete leave you feeling satisfied or unsatisfied?
Wait. So what am I, like, talking to, like, Darth Sidious via hologram in my hand? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm trying to picture this. So, like,
I
like,
was just going to ask you to explain it.
like, okay, what distinguishes this from something as common as, like, a Zoom call or a video conference call? Is it just or, like, better might be, what distinguishes this from a pre-recorded video message? Like something like that Cameo site. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, what's different about this? I don't get it. Or am I it just sounds funky to me.
It does to me too.
And it's at the very least what I definitely understood. It's some type of pre-produced duplicated thing. This sounds to me no different than, like, a fake autograph. Like, basically someone duplicating an autograph, a non-original. This sounds like a duplicated, pre-produced video message, not a live call. Like,
Right.
like I would love to have a live video chat with Larry Bird, for example. But a pre-produced "Hey Gary" message, like, doesn't do anything for me. We're not having a conversation. And it sounded almost like there was some AI in this, where maybe the pre-produced message was pre-programmed with certain responses that are triggered when certain words are uttered by its recipient. But that's not any more of a conversation either. That's like talking to one of those, I can understand full sentences. Please tell me why you're calling today. Agent, human. That's all I say to those things. I don't even do that, actually. I just hit 0.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't. But then I just hang up if it doesn't. I'm not going to talk to machines. And that's what it sounds like this is to me. So to answer the question, there's no way I would be satisfied with this. I'm not even so sure I 100% understand exactly what it is, but I think I understand. And to the extent of my understanding, that is not interesting or exciting to me.
Not to me either. Not at all.
I'm weird. I like people. I know that's so strange. But hey.
So you're the one.
I'm the one. There's one of us left. That's right. I still like actual physical people. What a weirdo, I know. One other thing I wanted to talk about, as it relates to the NBA series. I'm curious who is going to get more national renown from this? Let's say Denver wins. I think both Jamal Murray and his coach, Michael Malone, are grossly underappreciated as among the very best in the league. I think Michael Malone, along with Spoelstra, is probably about the best coach going right now. I think these are the two best coaches in the NBA at the moment. This guy is just a great coach. And I would love for him
Yes.
to get the national spotlight and recognition that I personally believe he deserves.
I have no problem with that at all. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't. He's well, I have a lot of respect for both coaches in this series. Spoelstra has had some of that national spot,
Yes.
but Malone has had none.
Yeah, I bet you there's a lot of people watching the finals this year that don't even know who the coach of the Nuggets is. I mean, he's a pretty obscure type of guy. He's not out there like, pumping himself. Not that most coaches are, but I mean, you and I have known how good of a coach this guy has been for. I mean, he's been there a long time now, 6-7 years.
8 years.
Yeah, maybe 8, right?
Yeah.
You don't get to keep an NBA coaching job that long in one place if you're not really good.
No, they change they change coaches at a ridiculous amount.
How's the air up there? Has it improved?
It has. How is it by you?
Very good, actually. It's like we never got it anywhere near as bad as the city, and I'm thinking not even as bad as you guys got it. But yesterday I could go outside and smell a campfire. Like I was joking with my friend Richie. I said, I don't have to go camping this year. Camping came to me.
Yeah.
I almost wanted
That's about the way it was here.
Yeah.
And I think because of the way we sit on the lake, and that breeze has a lot to do with moving that. I read something interesting. I saw New York City had the second worst air quality in the world yesterday. Delhi, India was first, and they usually are.
Yeah.
But New York was close.
Yeah, I mean,
that scares me.
it was like orange there, like bright, dark orange.
Yeah.
We never got anything like that at its worst. I would say our situation here was probably at its apex because the last all day today, I've been kind of monitoring the air quality levels, and they're consistently improving by comparison to the same time yesterday. So I think we're heading in the other direction now. But what I think is going to be what ends up being the apex of this here. I think we had like a slight orange hue, almost like an exaggerated sunset. All day long. And I think our air quality rating at its worst was like 198. I heard I think there's a max of 500, so the higher it is, the worse. And I think the city was at like 484. Like they were really, really bad. We were just kind of crummy.
Well, if you notice where Quebec sits, you can just shoot upstate before you turn to go towards Syracuse and all that and go into Montreal.
Okay.
So you're right in that line of fire.
Yeah, so we got it. But to me, it wasn't all that bad. I went about my day. But it was you could definitely smell like campfire outside, which was interesting.
Yes.
You can't smell that anymore now. I even see some blue skies. I see a little bit of sun. I see, of course, the some of the clouds. So even the visibility is improved versus even just earlier today. So Canada, keep your fires to yourself next time, or at least send me some roasted marshmallows for my trouble, some s'mores.
There's like 130 something of these fires in Quebec alone. And because so many of them are in non-populated places that are harder to get to.
Mm.
And it's a shame. It's a shame. I hate seeing stuff like this happen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? It's a natural part of nature. It's
Yeah, it is.
like the Californians get this on like a seasonal basis almost.
Right.
So, all right, cool. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got more to get to. I know we got some NHL stuff to talk about. There's some NFL news to get to as well, and Chris Paul. So that's what's on tap the rest of the way. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, there we go. One thing I wanted to say too, I think there was a discrepancy of about 25 rebounds in game 3. I think it was like 58-33 or something like that. I mean,
Yes.
it was a big discrepancy. And that's just Jokic getting every defensive rebound is really what that was. I think the Nuggets only got like 3 more offensive rebounds. I think it was 13-10 in favor of Denver. It was defensive rebounds. And obviously a part of that's because the Nuggets shot a much higher percentage. So there were more defensive rebounds to be had on the Heat side of things and on the Nuggets side of things. But Jokic got all of them. Vikings attempting to trade Dalvin Cook before cutting him. The Dolphins are considered the leading contender to sign him. And DeAndre Hopkins is visiting Tennessee. Oh, that's interesting. And James Harden seriously torn on staying in Philly or return to Houston. A lot of news here. Travis Rudolph cleared on a murder charge. So that legal process has played out. Chris Paul, that's what I wanted to really spend some time in and sink some teeth into.
As far as the DeAndre Hopkins thing,
Yeah.
I'm close to it because it's all I hear in Buffalo.
Well, he would help.
They got to get DeAndre Hopkins. Got to get DeAndre Hopkins. Why? Do you really want to give him major money? Really? What has he done the last 2 years? He had that nice first year in Arizona. He did, and he averaged a whole 12.2 yards a catch. What has he done the last 2 years? Can he stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the health concerns with him, and maybe you have to structure a contract a particular way. It might lead to some contentious negotiating, but
He probably won't take that.
Well, he will if there's nothing else on the table.
Oh, I think either Cleveland or Houston's going to pay him.
Well, then that's fine. But it's and you don't match it. I agree that I'm not gonna just back up the truck with a blank check. But I will say this: I would be happy to offer him a contract of similar value to what one of these max deals might look like, as long as it was underpinned by performance and availability metrics to reach those numbers. Because when he is healthy, he is one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL, and he's not old.
He is.
So,
He is, but
and Buffalo needs a second big threat. I've been saying that for a while. I think they need either a big threat receiver or a, kind of a bellhop, a bellwether running back, one of the two, to just take a little bit of pressure off of Diggs and Josh. That's what I think. Now I agree 100% with you. I'm not gonna just sign him to a contract with some absurd amount of guarantee. I'm tying a lot of his money to performance.
oh yeah, it would have to be heavily incentive for me to.
But with that said, I wouldn't shy away from negotiating with him. And if Houston gives him some stupid contract and he signs it, then God bless him. Go for it. Because at some point too, the one thing I will say, I think it's very likely that any team that would pay him a ridiculous contract that the Bills don't want to be involved in is also likely to be a team that's not close to winning. So also he's going to have to, in his own mind, and only he can decide this, determine how much being on a contending team matters to him.
Right. And he already had kind of ruled Buffalo out because he said he didn't think they could afford it.
So maybe he's just looking for top dollar. And if that's the case, then it won't be the Bills. And that's fine.
And I have no idea why people are out here so upset about that. You have to be. It's not fantasy sports, okay? You have to think about these things.
You see, I agree with Dylan. If Dalvin Cook becomes available, if he's cut, I would rather him than Hopkins if I'm the Bills. He would be perfect.
I would too, because he's exactly the kind of back that team needs.
100%. And he's a good pass catcher out of the backfield too. So you get some receiving threat there also.
Yes.
Oh man, that would be scary. Hopkins in Kansas City. I'm all reading some of these comments. Hopkins in Kansas City would be scary. I'd start crying. That's probably true.
Yeah, but if you remember, Kansas City doesn't go nuts.
They don't
to pay receivers.
They don't.
Look what they did to Hill. They brought in guys like Valdez, Scantling.
Yep.
And much lower money because they wouldn't pay Hill that. They don't want to pay any receiver big bucks.
Right. Well, and their reasoning and its sound is Patrick Mahomes can make a third string receiver look like a starter. Right. And it's true. He does. So, I mean, Scantling's a perfect example. He's okay. He's like slot guy through his career. He was like a game breaker this year. Why?
Yeah.
Because Patrick Mahomes is a magician. That's why.
Sure.
It's what it boils down to. And Andy Reid's the best offensive mind in the NFL over the last 30 years.
There's a lot of guys who look a lot better when, depending on who they're playing with.
Well, this is where people lose sight of the fact, whether it's football or basketball, that these are team sports. Larry Bird had a comment about along these lines some years ago when he was still running the front office in Indiana. They were talking about making a trade for one of Cleveland's players. I forget which one. It might have been J.R. Smith, might have been Tristan Thompson, one of their like other starters, like one of their lesser starters. And the guy working, like Bird was more in like a consultancy sort of overseer role, but I think he still had like kind of a lot of input, if not like day-to-day operations, say. And they asked him about it, and he goes, "Careful trading for these guys. LeBron ain't coming with them. They ain't as good as they look."
And that is so true.
And that's the case with any of these receivers from Kansas City. you got to be careful because they can look one way and be another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's you have to look at the whole situation.
Yes. Yeah, I think Dalvin Cook to Buffalo would be in fact, I'll say it this much. If they're still trying to trade him before cutting him, if I was the Bills, I would want him enough that I try to trade for him now and preclude
They want a
competition.
number one, and I'm not doing.
Yeah, that's a steep asking price for a running back. It
Running,
really is.
even if he's a pass catcher, running backs in this league, I mean, you're seeing it this off season, and you're really seeing it.
Yes.
That value is not there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes it different for me with Buffalo, and I agree with you. I don't think I would do it either. But the one thing that makes Buffalo maybe different than some others is the fact that with that acquisition, even if it costs you a first round pick, I think that makes them a Super Bowl title team. And there's no other situation where I think getting Dalvin Cook makes them a Super Bowl team. So that missing piece element, if you believe it, if you're the Bills front office, does change the calculus on the value a little bit to me. It has to.
I'm not sure if they do.
Well, that's not for me to decide. That's my own personal opinion and assessment of the situation. Now, I believe the Bills are a difference-making running back away from winning the Super Bowl.
I think enough people there feel that they have that back in Cook's brother. Do I feel that way? I don't know. I don't think so. But if that's the way they feel, what I feel doesn't matter.
Right. Well, me either. That's true. There's no doubt about that. All right, we got a few minutes left. What do we got for news we can use today?
NHL Game 3 tonight.
Okay.
The first one in Florida. So this is day 2 of the 4-day Florida run where they're having a championship game in southern Florida, which is kind of cool.
Because of Miami with the Heat too, of course. Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Heat started it. The Panthers tonight, the Heat Friday, and the Panthers Saturday.
That is pretty cool.
New York Jets fans are hoping that Zach Wilson won't be the primary backup. Apparently, they're going to give him maximum reps in training camp, and Aaron Rodgers endorses him.
Well, that's nice. I
don't know what that means.
I mean, I'll tell you this: Aaron Rodgers, from the little bit I know about him, has always jealously guarded his status as the top guy. Tom Brady was like this too. Peyton Manning, most of the great quarterbacks were like this. They had no interest in helping make their backup even remotely a threat to them. Not that they were ever going to be anyway. But my point is, I could see Aaron Rodgers endorsing him precisely because he views them as the lowest threat of all of them.
I don't know. What else is there?
Well, yeah, I mean, hell, the guy in the stands might be better. I don't know. I'm done with Zach Wilson. He needs to show me something other than looking like a scared puppy dog who can't hold his tongue, because that's what I've seen from him so far.
Well, I'm just curious to see if Rodgers seriously is working with
it. I mean, the one thing that's different this go around is, Rodgers can only be around for so many more years, of course, because of his age. So at some point, maybe that's true. But I'll tell you what, talking about Hopkins before, him going to the Jets, that would help them a lot. They need a big play guy too. In fact, I would be more aggressive if I was them than Buffalo because the Jets don't have a big play receiver of any kind.
Right.
You could be a little more risk taking because you're not losing anything.
And they also have more cap room than
Yes,
Buffalo.
they have cap room. They have more room to grow. They got a new quarterback that they want to give a weapon to. It makes a lot of sense. And New York fans would love that. He's the exact type of highlight reel, big name sizzle that the New York fans and media would eat up.
I think so too.
All right, we got a couple more. We can get a few more in.
Okay. The Mets blew another 4-1 lead last night, 2 days in a row. Atlanta wins 2 very important games. What do we do to fix this?
I don't know. I mean, because the problem for the Mets is their bullpen is very thin. I think, and this is the problem with bullpens in general. Day to day, year to year, most bullpen arms are not consistent, except for elite closes. If only the Mets had an elite close. Oh, wait, that's right. He was playing an exhibition game and tore his stuff, and now he's gone, and it's diminished their bullpen to such an extent they can't hold leads. This is why I was crazy about it when it happened, and I was incensed that it was allowed to happen because this was my worst fear. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but they blow these leads because everyone has had to move up a slot in that bullpen to compensate for Diaz not being there, and they're not deep enough to sustain it over the course of a season. And that's why they're a 500 team. The difference between being a 500 team and a team that's winning 65% of your games often comes down to, can you hold 3-2 leads after the 7th inning? And the Mets can't right now.
True.
And it drives me crazy because they would be. If Diaz was healthy, I bet you they would have 40 wins right now. I really believe that.
To add insult to injury, Chris Bassett looked great going 8 innings yesterday.
I didn't understand that. That was the first personnel move of the Steve Cohen era that I really strongly disagreed with. It's not like he signed some stupid contract. He got basically fair market value, and he was a stable of consistency for them the last couple of years. That made no sense to me.
He's the reason Toronto hasn't really bottomed out, despite the fact that Alek Manoah has just fallen off the face of the earth. They didn't even send Manoah to AAA yesterday. They sent him to the farm. They sent him to Florida to their developmental.
Oh, man. That's like being cut, basically.
That's basically just telling him, okay, we know there's stuff you got to fix.
Now, just because I got to get a little something back at Yankee fans here, since I had to eat some crow with the Mets just now, Aaron Hicks is hitting them to the sticks again now that he's out of the New York metro area, tearing it up in San Diego, Rich.
Yes, he is. He's playing great ball. In fact, the Padres look like the Padres again. They've woken. They woke up.
Yes, they have.
And the past 10 games or so, they've actually woken up. It's good to see.
No question about it. All right, we got time for maybe a couple more.
The Cincinnati Reds called up some kid. And of course, I don't have his name here
right now.
All right. But he got his first hit, then hit his first home run. They call up another kid because they got a deep farm system. He hits his first home run last night, and it's a walk-off in the 9th to come back from a 6-2 deficit to beat the Dodgers.
Mm.
It's a lot of fun stuff going on in baseball.
Yeah, baseball's pretty cool. Bit of news from the homestead here. Everyone was talking about the poor air quality the last couple of days. There was a solution for that. All you had to do was fry some chicken and eggplant and make your house smell like that beautiful fried smell. See? Air quality problem fixed. That's it, man. Life hack 102 with Gary.
That doesn't sound like a bad solution to me.
Yeah, I made some eggplant and chicken parm last night, some penne alla vodka. I got my house smelling like oil and cheese and chicken. It's wonderful.
See, now you don't beat that.
That's right.
It gets no better.
All right, we'll get out of here on this one. Chris Paul likely to be waived. It was announced yesterday. Where do you think he fits the best?
I'm going to say San Antonio.
I agree. And that might just be the type of place he might go to because of Popovich and the history there. Although if he's chasing a ring, then he won't go there.
I know we don't have time now, but Damian Lillard's given his preferred destinations. Let's take it apart tomorrow and place him in which one. Try to figure out what it would take for those cities to get him.
Sounds like a plan to me. We'll do that tomorrow.
All right, I'm putting that in my notes.
Perfect. So we will be back tomorrow. We should have Joe Vasile of the Renegades, also a handful of others tomorrow. We'll have a couple of Bomber players and a lot of good stuff. And then, of course, the Damian Lillard stuff we just talked about. So a lot of good stuff to get to. We'll see you then. That does it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.